they didn't even have him on his radar, and there was DNA left at the crime scene. They put it into CODIS and then ran it through a genealogy. It was either 23andMe or Ancestry,
or it might have been Family Tree DNA.
Yeah,
because that's
came up with his. I think it was a male relative of his. It was like I don't remember exactly. It was either a cousin or some sort of male relative in that age range.
Yeah.
And then followed him, got his DNA from a discarded drink cup, I believe. And that's how they found him. I mean, that was fascinating to me.
Have you guys ran into any walls about giving up for these Ancestry, 23andMe? What about you, Tats?
I was just gonna say, I'm not gonna. Unfortunately, there he is. That's DJ.
Right.
Yes.
How did they release this information? People weren't signing up for that when they were sending in their DNA. They were.
Yeah.
Well, Ancestry.com is not law enforcement friendly.
No.
It's not a public database.
They won't give you.
If you sign 23andMe over, you still okay. You still need a warrant under the Fourth Amendment. But of course, now with Chatry that just came down, it may have expanded it. But I still think that if there is a match, or if there's a potential match, or if you find out that somebody had put their DNA into 23andMe, I think there's a way to get it through the Fourth Amendment. I think it's tricky. I think you probably need a really good attorney for,
but
either the family or.
I think you guys didn't you guys kind of butt heads with the legal department of Ancestry.com once? They weren't so friendly to you guys, right?
That was on the Publicker case that.
Oh, okay.
Was just talking about. I tried to get her DNA profile put into that just because I was trying to identify her.
Right.
And they would not. They told me absolutely no. And I said, I'm trying to identify her. I'm not looking, for a suspect in this. And they said, well, it's a privacy concern. And I said, and then they, I was actually, it was kind of like put to me, well, how do you know Jane Doe would consent to her DNA being in the database? But we got it done. So, thank God for the public databases. But
you can't ask her. She's, like you said, she's been in
that's where
envelope.
Those psychics come in.
Right. Oh, right. Good point.
What was that?
So
that's where those psychics come in.
Yeah.
I unfortunately have to drop. It has been a pleasure meeting all of you. Mike, thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, thanks for coming, Tats.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I'm sorry that I got to go because I could probably talk to you guys for hours. So
we'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. It was really great to see you.
Sure.
Chris, I got a question. So let's say, because we get a lot of family members that come into our TikTok lives who have missing people or people that have been murdered or other things have happened and they're cold cases or there's nothing going on or they're frustrated how law enforcement's been dealing with it. They're getting no answers. They're getting no help. If somebody has a case like that, is that a potential good case for the cold case initiatives, or what criteria do they have to meet? How do they apply? And what's the process? If you could take us through that.
I mean, Cold Case Initiative is a nonprofit, and I'm no longer a police officer. I mean, we have absolutely no investigation authority at all. We just we're able to raise the money because that's another struggle we have. We have helped offset the costs of forensic testing for agencies involved, doing an investigation on a case like that. So for our nonprofit, it would have to be a law enforcement agency that came to us and said, we have this case, we want to do this, we want to follow a DNA genealogy trail on this suspect or try and identify that. So that's how that would be. We have absolutely no investigative authority at all.
I mean,
so what you were. Go ahead, Dado. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say it all depends on the agency if they have a cold case unit. We were lucky, and I not because Chris is here next to me, but he showed, and thank God for our administration that let him get into and dig into, and I would be sitting next to him like, "What are you doing?" And he's reading old reports and just going researching, and it would take investigators that want to invest the time, but it's very limiting and time consuming. So
Yeah, we didn't have a cold case unit. I just would do those cases in between our current cases.
Oh wow.
But as far one question that you said, anybody out there that has a missing family member, one thing that I would, if I were them, what I would make sure is done is whatever agency is investigating that, I would request, if it hasn't been done, I mean, hopefully it has been, but that they are permitted to give what's called a family reference sample. So they go to that law enforcement agency and they'll take their DNA, their buccal swabs, and they'll send them off to the Center for Human Identification, the University of North Texas. And they will get the DNA profile of these family members, and they will upload that profile to the CODIS system. And then those profiles will be compared to DNA profiles from John and Jane Does throughout the country.
Right.
That's something that I would tell them to do. That's a good start. That won't cost any money. It just takes a little bit of time. I mean, I solved the case that way.
Oh wow. That's
But the
helpful
genealogy
information
part,
for people.
the genealogy part wasn't really out there when you started on the publicer. And what if it was, it would have been so much easier for you probably. But what I'm saying is that that's the basis. That thought process is the basis for the cold case initiative. Like, if that was there, that kid wouldn't have suffered all of his life wondering that his mom just didn't want him. You know what I mean?
Dave was right. Our administration was good, and our director at the time, he was really good at, like I said, he got Bodie Labs to do Lisa Todd's DNA profile pro bono for us because he had a good relationship with them, and they would let me work. I one day I said, listen, I want to exhume a body, and they're like, what do you mean you want to exhume a body? I said, I want to exhume a body because I want to get her DNA. So then, I had to persuade the district attorney's office why we should do it, because if we did it, then I had resources to employ untried methods that were, before she had been buried and things like that. And that was another case. And we did identify her eventually too. And, Dave, you can probably chime in on this, but I took a little bit of heat from time to time. But
no, people thought you were crazy, and but his drive and wanting to solve these cold cases,
they were crazy, but I solved a lot of them.
Yeah.
So that's really what Cold Case Initiative was from. It was from, I was frustrated because I want to do this, and I don't want to wait. The case has been sitting for 33 years. I want to do it now. Well, so that's why I came up with the nonprofit, and our nonprofit has solved 2 cases so far, which
That's amazing.
One actually in Ben Salem and one in Arizona.
And the fact that you were able to give that young man who thought since he was 2 years old that his mom just left him,
Right.
the fact that you were able to get him to know that that's not the case, that that's not what happened, that she didn't leave him, that she loved him, that she couldn't help it, she was injured and she was somewhere where she couldn't get to him. And just that right there is priceless. You cannot put a
it's life
price
changing
tag on
for that guy. Absolutely life changing.
Life changing.
It is, and that's I always told